I think, yeah, I really just became concerned about it because I felt really powerless, especially when a lot of leaders and politicians were denying the existence of climate change or the fact that it's caused by human activity. So that made me join CCL.
I began in like third grade, I would say, with like being really empowered, or not empowered, but passionate about animal rights and animal cruelty. Um, and so I became a vegetarian in third grade because I was like, I don't want to hurt animals anymore. For me, my interest started around high school when I took a environmental science class. And I mean, all my life, I've grown up hearing about climate change and how it's impacting the earth and the environment. And I was just interested in climate change, but I was also looking for a way to use my voice and have more action towards policy. And so when Emmeline um, introduced me to CCL when we went to the Great Lakes conference, I was like, oh, we have to start a chapter at Lawrence and get policy out to other students and have action.
In I think it was 2021, northern Minnesota especially experienced some pretty bad wildfires during the summer. We had a really dry summer. And I know a lot of people who had cabins in the area, some that were destroyed by the fires, and my grandparents live in Grand Marais. And that just really impacted how I felt about, the impact of climate change on my local community and my family and friends. And that's what really spurred me into involving myself in climate action.
I left Madison feeling kind of unprepared because I never lobbied before and I wasn't like super familiar with CCL or climate policy at all. So I was a little nervous about having no experience, but I think I made like a lot of connections with the people I went with and also the people that I met. Yeah, lobby day was really exciting. Honestly, just like getting to walk in the halls of like congressional office buildings and meetings with like the staffers of senators and representatives, and even just like eating lunch in the like House office cafeteria was really cool. I think what stuck with me the most is our main ask last year was like the Prove It Act. And for Republican offices, especially, one thing I learned is like you have to frame your ask in different ways depending on who you're asking and trying to like target what their concerns would be. And I was a little nervous for that one, but he was like surprisingly receptive, I think, and it felt just like a normal conversation. Like you have to remember that they're just people, so it's not as scary as you think. And um, I think framing it in a way where you like talk about how this act will benefit like the senator or representative's constituency is really helpful. So
I mean, Lawrence is a pretty environmentally conscious campus. And I think what really made us want to start a chapter was to fill a niche of climate advocacy towards policy. I had a lot of climate anxiety, like a feeling of hopelessness, because climate change can be an issue that feels really large and it feels like you can really, there's nothing to do about it. But I think over these past couple of months, realizing that there's a community that wants action towards a better climate, towards a better environment has been really helpful for me. I was not able to make it to the conference in DC last year, unfortunately, but I did attend the Great Lakes Conference, and that was a really cool experience to kind of talk with a lot of different people that I wouldn't usually interact with, I guess.
Last summer, especially, was kind of more of a realization that I didn't just want to do the science. I couldn't just stay in the realm of research without, using my voice to speak up about how a lot of these issues were impacting our communities and our homes. And so actually that was at the end of last summer when I learned about CCL. So immediately I was like, Absolutely, I want to do this. This sounds exactly like what I want to do. And I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to attend the fall conference. I found out about it just in time. The first night after we had attended a bunch of the panel sessions during the day, we all went back to our hotel room and just pulled out our laptops and sat on the bed and we're just like planning. We were like, okay, we're going to start a campus chapter. Like, how are we going to do this? What do we need to do? Who do we need to talk to? And we were all so excited about it. So yeah, we were students at Lawrence University, and we're really excited about the possibility of attending the DC conference this summer. But as students, none of us can entirely afford the trip on our own. But we're right now a little bit worried about being able to support everyone as much as possible who is interested. And there's a ton of interest because the Lawrence University campus is super passionate about this, and CCL providing this opportunity has a lot of people really excited.
The voices of youth hold a lot of power, um, and I would like to be able to. I think it's a really powerful thing to be able to say that, like, you changed your congressman's mind or something like that. So, I mean, I've written letters to my representatives in Congress, but I think there's something to say for being in the physical room with other people, and having those actual conversations that are like a back and forth.
Also, I think that it's true that, we can so easily feel very removed from national level politics because I think we can read the news and through social media we find out about a lot of things that might be seen frustrating or something that we want to have a say in or do something about. But because we're here in Appleton, Wisconsin, it feels like, how can I make a difference? So I think that attending a conference like this and forming that connection with my actual representatives on Capitol Hill would just be an incredible, inspiring experience that would probably, you know, change my outlook as a climate advocate for years. And I would hope that I could spread that, same experience throughout my community at Lawrence.
I think it would definitely mean a lot to me, especially like in this Congress during a time where, for me at least, it feels like there is kind of a disconnect between us and legislators. So, yeah, like you said, Jay, like youth have a really powerful voice in climate conversations. So, I hope that lobbying would make a big difference for legislators.
And so just like finding ways to use my voice has been really powerful.
The history of the climate movement has really shown that intergenerational voices have the greatest impact. Like I think about, powerful voices in science from the 1970s who have been talking about climate change for decades. And I think about, like Nina mentioned, Greta Thunberg, and all of the climate marches that we started seeing, especially in high school and middle school, and our generation really waking up to what climate change means to us. And I think that we've all begun to recognize that this work requires all of us, all generations, and CCL really embodies that.